All right, YouTube. Everybody is making videos about this knife, and I figured I would do one too. It's an Ozark Trail from Walmart. It was only $10, but everyone's saying, "Oh, it's the Bugout killer." I've never had a Benchmade. I've never had a Benchmade Bugout. I don't even think I've used one. Like, hey, let me borrow your knife to cut this or whatever. But everybody's raving about this thing on the YouTube, so I figured I would go and get one. So I looked at the Walmart that we usually go to, and they didn't have it. And then I looked at the other Walmart, because we all know there's a good Walmart and there's a bad Walmart, no matter where you live. And a bad Walmart didn't have it. So I looked online and I saw that the Walmart in Putnam, Connecticut had this knife. So my son and I go out there last night after dinner. Just my wife was going to work. She works the night shift in an ICU as a nurse, and we said, all right, yeah, we'll go for a little ride. We'll go for a little adventure, see if we can get this knife. And honestly, the entire experience was like my son compared it to an episode of Atlanta, and I compared it to a scene in The Big Lebowski. So we go back to the sporting goods section, and this, of course, it's not on the shelf. It's not in the case. So I'm thinking I gotta ask. I mean, we just drove out here 40 minutes to see if they had this knife. I'm gonna ask. But there's these three. Well, first there were two. There were these two Irish people. One was a guy in his 20s, and the other one must have been like his younger brother at like 13 or 14. And it was the most non sequitur encounter I think I've ever had in my life. The 13-year-old Irish kid is riding around on a mountain bike, and just in the middle of Walmart in the sporting goods section, and the 20-year-old guy is picking up the phone that's on the sporting goods desk, because there's no salespeople there, there's no associates there. So he picks it up and he eventually figures out how to get a hold of somebody. He says, I need someone down here in the sporting goods. So eventually this kid shows up who basically looks at them and he's like, what the hell is going on here? So they start asking to look at the BB guns. And they're like, oh, can we look at that one? Can we take it out? And he's looking at it and holding it one-handed like he's the Terminator and stuff. And the kid who's riding on the bike is asking me, he's like, what are the laws about BB guns in America? I'm like, there are none. It's America. I mean, you can do whatever, you shoot it wherever you want. Oh, grand, that makes sense. And so then the other Irish guy is talking on the phone to whoever has to be another brother, and he shows up, and he's asking to look at all the knives, and he's looking at binoculars, and it was just so weird because they're asking to look at all this stuff, they're not buying any of it, they're just leaving it there. It was one of those bizarre experiences where it's like, is this real life? Is this actually happening right now? And it was like a scene from The Big Lebowski. It just didn't make any sense. But anyway, now that I've told that ridiculous story about how I got this knife, I'll start talking about the knife. Apparently this is D2 steel. I don't know if that's any good, but this thing was shaving sharp out of the package, and you'll see that's shaving sharp. That's a good knife. That's a really sharp knife. And I guess D2 steel is supposed to be something decent. This is a glass injected plastic molded handle. I guess that's the same thing that Benchmade does with their Bugout. Benchmade's Bugout is like 100 and something. This was $10. I got it, and there was a little bit of play in the blade. My son has a set of precision screwdrivers for building computers, and he had one that fit this. So I tightened it a full revolution, and I mean, this thing is as solid as a buck knife now. I'm really, really impressed with it. This is the lock. This thing here is the lock. Instead of having a liner lock, it's got this, I think they called it an access lock. It's really smooth. I mean, for $10, it's a good knife. For $50, it'd be a good knife. I'm impressed with it. I'm probably going to end up going back to carrying my Leatherman in my pocket, but I'm gonna carry this for a little bit and see how I like it. And yeah, I'm kind of impressed for a $10 knife. It's a decent knife, like very smooth action. You can, I can't, but other people can flip it out like that. I guess I can. It's impressive. I like the weight of it. It's very, very light. You barely feel it in your pocket, which is nice. The Leatherman's a bit heavy, I will say that. But I don't know, as far as a pocket knife, something that I can use and abuse and not worry about because it's $10 and I can go get another one for $10 if I break it. It's really good quality. The only thing I don't really like, because it takes some getting used to, is that the clip sits in your pocket with the tip of the blade down, so it comes out of your pocket. I'm so used to taking something out of my pocket and spinning it so that I can use it that it's taken a little bit of time to get used to having the tip down like that. But honestly, it's a great knife. It's a cool little knife, and it was worth the non sequitur experience of of going down there with these Irish guys. And I will buy it again if anything happens to it. So that's my review on the viral unobtainium Bugout. I guess that's what they're calling it, because it's a Walmart Bugout. It's a Bugout. So I like it. It's worth the $10, that's for sure. And I would have paid more for it. Actually, I wouldn't have paid more for it, but if I had paid more for it, not knowing what it was, I'd be happy with the knife. So yeah, it's a good knife. I'm happy with it. I'm gonna take it fly fishing. I'm gonna use it for a few different things. Use it until I decide to go back to my Leatherman. If I decide to go back to my Leatherman, I probably will, because that's what I always do. But yeah, it's a solid knife. It's for $10. I'm impressed.